Old Fashioned Football on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Bet Rivers. Claim your risk-free bet up to $500 on sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetRivers. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetRivers. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today.
Hey, what's up? This is Sam Acho, and you're listening to Old Fashioned Football.
Old Fashioned Football.
Make this deal right now, you pancake eating mother.
All right, deal.
Old Fashioned Football.
Welcome to Old Fashioned Football. If you're wondering who you're listening to, this is J Mark. You can find me on the X at JMarkFootball. And if you're wondering, if you're not watching us on YouTube, shame on you. If you can, get on over to youtube.com/old-fashioned-football. But if you're thinking, he said us, who's this us? If you haven't listened to us before, that's right. We are at Old Fashioned FB on the X. And before I keep going to talk about Week 13 start sets, I got to introduce my co-host on the pod and in life. You can find her on the X at the Mark. Mer, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm a little behind. I'm trying to post to the social medias to let everybody know, hey, come on in. We are here.
You keep us so organized. Thank you.
I try.
I'm normally the very organized one between us. If anyone thought that you would be the organized one. But yes, thank you for keeping us organized on social media.
Well, you to your credit, you were working until like a minute ago. So working up to the very end. That's why we did start a little bit late. Apologies for that. But seeing people jump in now, make sure you say hello. If you have questions, ask them. If you don't have questions, say hello anyways. Let's have a good time. While I am finishing this social media stuff, sorry for those watching the aesthetically pleasing, or it's probably not aesthetically pleasing to see me keep doing this and showing you my hat, which you can get at the merch store, while looking at my phone. Why don't you tell everybody who's on a bye this week?
Yes, week 13 is here. The byes are the Bills, the Ravens, Vikings, Bears, Raiders, and the Giants. We got 6 teams on a bye this week. It's definitely impacting myself. Is it impacting you?
It is a little bit. I have one league where 5 of my 6 bench spots are bye spots. Probably, I would think, I have not looked, but in our family league, really impacting my mother, who is pro Bills, pro Bears for her lineups. So
it's going to be a hard week for her.
I made a trade in our pirate league. I don't know if you saw that.
I have not. When did it happen?
Just Monday night.
How have I not?
Or no, it was maybe it was Tuesday. Anyways, I don't know. All the days, all the days are blurred. It was one of the days this week. You know, I took Raheem Mostert.
Oh, is this the one we talked about, or this is a different
This
trade?
is a trade. I took Raheem Mostert and realized that, I probably didn't need the running back help, so I put him on the trade block to see what I have. Mm-hmm. It is a super flex league. My quarterbacks are Tua, Kenny Pickett, Tommy DeVito, and Aiden O'Connell. So aside from Tua. Not screaming
Your
winner.
quarterbacks are Tua.
Yes. So I did end up trading Raheem Mostert for Lamar Jackson before I realized that the Ravens were on a bye this week. So that's kind of a dope moment, but it is what it is. What do you think of that trade? She's thinking.
I'm on the fence about it, and especially because you did it, and now
yes, but super flex league quarterbacks
right?
Worth more.
But who do you play this week? See, what I would have done is that who are you playing this week? I would have made a trade that maybe would help you win this week to steal a quarterback.
Because I certainly look like I'm going to lose this week.
Do you know what quarterbacks you're going against?
No, I don't know what quarterbacks I'm going against. I just know I'm projected to lose. Before we talk,
it's not even helping you.
It's not. It looked good on paper.
So you could have done a trade just to give away whoever beats you, Lamar Jackson. You could have given Mostert away.
Unless we're sticking to the rules that they got to be started.
Except this got really hairy in this league, and I hate when this happens. But that was not being very closely monitored throughout most of the season.
Yeah, way to go,
and
Cody. Oh wait, no, it's not Cody's fault.
It's both Cody and my fault. It's both of our
It's
faults.
nobody's fault. Let's be
It
honest.
is, but we had realized people were taking people on people's benches throughout the season. So to start enforcing it now, you just can't. Everybody's up for grabs.
Yeah.
The whole roster's up for grabs.
Yeah. We got a couple questions. So before we jump into kind of the fun thing we're doing on whiskey, let's answer a couple questions. You good with that?
Absolutely.
All right, Karen, welcome back. We don't have our scotch yet. I apologize, but we're gonna get some. Pick one in a standard league for a flex spot. Josh Downs, Chris Godwin, Sam Laporta. And we'll start with there. There's some more to the question, but we'll start with that one. Godwin does go against a tougher Panthers defense. They are tough against the receivers. Downs goes against the Titans, who are not great against the receivers. Downs, I was looking this up because I saw the question ahead of time. Downs is averaging 15% of the target share. Chris Godwin, 17%. Or there also is Sam Laporta.
Who are the Lions?
The Lions play the Saints, who are 20th against the tight end, I believe.
Okay. You threw Sam Laporta out there, and it's like, oh, Sam Laporta.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew that was going to get you. He's coming off of a big game too. Saints are 22nd against the tight end position, and really, outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown, it's Sam Laporta in that receiving game.
Do you know his percent of the target share right offhand?
I don't. And by the way, I was going to pull up that's the old tracker.
I know.
I emailed you the new one, and I was going to open your emails to open it on your computer. And then I thought, man, it's Christmas time. I know I have a lot of emails that say things.
You'd be in trouble.
So I didn't. So be proud of me for that, right?
Yes. So look that up for me, please.
Sam Laporta is
20?
averaging 16% of the target share.
Okay.
So I still lean Sam Laporta here. Chris Godwin, probably the best overall player or option, but does go against a tougher defense. The Panthers this is their first game after firing their coach. So that concerns me that they get that little one game bump of, hey, we fired the coach, we're going to play even harder. So that worries me there. It's hard to trust Gardner Minshew. I realize they're on a win streak, but him throwing to Josh Downs. So for me, I think I'm going to go to Sam Laporta, which is probably what you were going to say.
That was my instinctual answer from those three.
Yes. And then is ETN going to play? He's got that chest rib injury. He injured it during the game and came back in the game. So I imagine he is going to play unless there's a setback. And then is Devon Chan. I have not heard about Devon, whether he's going to play or not.
No, and I would just, for the ETN, I would just say keep an eye on that. Keep a close eye on that.
Yes.
I feel like he's going to be good to go.
We did give out, hopefully you caught our waivers and whiskey episode on Monday, but we did give out Dearness Johnson because he took a lot of those snaps when ETN was off of the field. Bryce Ridley, welcome back, says full PPR, start Mahomes or Dak. Am I crazy to say Dak? Mahomes goes against the Packers, who have been playing some really good defense. They just made Jared Goff look again like Jared Goof. And Dak plays a Seahawks defense that has not been as good. They have been vulnerable, especially in the passing game. They benched the guy that was he was one of their best players in the backfield last year as a cornerback, and they benched him. I think that was last week. It might have been 2 weeks ago. But yeah, Seahawks 17th against the quarterback, Packers 9th. I know it's Mahomes.
Against.
Well, this is off of this here. So that depends on league settings. This is just your general.
That's true.
I say Dak. It sounds weird because it is Mahomes. But Kansas City has not been.
Dak's been on fire.
Yeah. That's why I think you have to go with Dak. Mahomes hasn't been as Mahomey. He's still been good, but not as Mahomey. That Packers defense is going to show up. It's at Lambeau. So, yeah, I'm going with Dak at home against the Seahawks tonight. I
say that too. That sounds so weird.
I know, right?
But no, I have to agree with you. I would have to go. I'm leaning Dak.
Dak attack. If you remember Fusion Frenzy, Dak Attack was a character from there. Oh no, that was Zach. Never mind, that was Zach. Spelled the same though, Z-A-K. No C in there.
All right, Justin. Moving on.
Yeah, go with Dakota Rain Prescott. Anyways, Sam says RB1 David Montgomery, RB2 Najee Harris, and flex DeAndre Swift, but I have Joe Mixon on my bench. Should I bench him or replace him with someone? I am a little worried about. It's hard to say not to start DeAndre Swift, but he's going against the Niners.
Swift is the one there that I am hesitant on.
It's the Niners. They have made
yes.
everybody look bad. They're very good. Their defense is healthy again. And looking at this here, the Niners are third against the run,
which is just, it's not going to be good for Swift. I don't anticipate him to have as good of a game as
right.
we
I also
expect to get out
who
of
do you
him.
think wins that game? Who do you think is going to win? Not who do you want to win, but who do you think will win? It's a showdown.
It is a showdown. That's a big.
Niners are 3-point favorites, even though the Eagles just beat the Chiefs and then the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
But how much does that take out of them facing those two teams that were close games?
The Niners now.
Yeah, and now to go against the Niners, and next week it's a divisional rival, Dallas. It's a tough 4 games.
I feel
for
like
the Eagles.
I'm leaning the 49ers.
Yeah, I honestly think the 49ers are going to rout them.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get to the sits, you will see that DeAndre Swift is on my sit list. And I think Kenneth Gainwell may play more snap share. I don't know if he'll get more carries, but I think he'll be on the field more because that's kind of their passing guy, good pass blocker. So, yeah, watch out for that. Karen says, thanks, got to run 6-6 Bills. I know, but they should be so much better. It's just like the Chargers, who have only won the same amount of games as the Bears. With that roster, they should be so much better. It is insane. I don't want anybody to hear. I don't want to hear anybody say how bad the Bears suck when the Chargers have the same record and the Bills have only won 2 more games. So no ragging on my Bears. I did see a thing today that says, hey, we're from Chicago. We're Chicago fans and our teams suck, but only we can say that. It's like, yeah, that's true. You can't say that. We can. Before we keep going here, going to talk a little bit. Maybe you want to bet on tonight's game, and you can do that at Bet Rivers. Do you want to tell them a little bit about Bet Rivers?
Yeah, Bet Rivers is available in over 14 states plus Ontario, Canada.
Canada, eh?
Canada. They have some of the best live betting markets in the space. Their betting menu is second to none, including a ton of props. Depositing and withdrawing is super easy on Bet Rivers.
Yeah, and so if you use our sign-up link, you're going to get a $500 risk-free bet. I'm going to use mine to go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NFL. Look at the article called Week 13 Betting Trends that I put out just yesterday. Parlay all those. That article, following those trends, researching those trends, has been hitting at a really, really good rate. In fact, I believe we're 29-13. So pretty good. Went 6-1 last week. Going to go 5-0 this week. Parlay them all. And sign up using our link to get a risk-free bet up to $500. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betrivers. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betrivers. Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we had to talk about that real quick.
Yes.
Kirk Ford, welcome to the chat.
Kirk.
I don't think we've seen Kirk on here before.
I don't know if I have either.
What's up, man? You are not allowed to say the Bears still suck, especially as you are converting into a Packer fan thanks to your fiance. So you're not allowed to say that,
It's
sir.
extremely disappointing.
Yes, this is most disappointing. Should we talk a little? Oh,
no, I'm going to stop you right there.
Yes, stop
We need
me.
to talk about the whiskey.
Yes.
We also need to talk about the episode that we released yesterday.
Yes.
We had a little hiccup releasing it live Tuesday night.
Yes.
It wasn't live. It was streamed live.
It was a streaming pre-recorded video that then the computer decided to shit out.
Yesterday, officially, we released our Whiskey Wednesday episode, which was a special episode. We brought Dylan Carney, the head distiller from Savage and Cook, back onto the show with us. We have such good discussions with him. I always learn when he's I'm saying always.
Always of the
learned
two
again.
times.
Yes, he's gonna come back a third time.
Yeah.
Once that weeded bourbon is released.
Yes.
That's gonna be really
Cannot
exciting.
wait for that.
I'm already looking forward to having him back on the show with us. But he has a wealth of knowledge and information. He's an extremely intelligent guy.
Super intelligent and super fun.
Yes.
Just some highlights. Hear about their birch labels and how it's made out of actually birch wood and why that was the decision or what that means to their
all
owner,
about their rebranding.
Dave Finney. Yeah, all about their rebranding. Him getting to smell bungholes. Okay, pervs. They're part of a barrel. All right, come on now. And we get to taste all these. Real quick, not to interrupt you there. I know you're talking to America, but you mentioned
talking to America.
You're talking to America here. You mentioned Dylan Carney. I went through our Spotify Wrapped details, and episode 36 with Dylan Carney was our #1 listened to on Spotify episode, which is really cool. Now, speaking of that, if you listen to us on Spotify, all you have to do is look at your Spotify Wrapped. You'll be able to find it when you pull Spotify up. It's in there. Screenshot if we're in your top 5 of podcasts, because it'll give you your top 5 podcasts. Screenshot that and send it to us, whether that be, if you have our email, do that. Do it on Insta, do it on Twitter, the X, do it on Facebook, wherever. And you're going to
get it to us. We'll see it.
Yeah.
However, whatever platform you're on for social media.
Text us if you're our friends. That's fine too.
Send us that
the
screenshot. We're doing a giveaway.
Yes, we'll be put into a drawing. We'll pull out the name, and you will get a free old-fashioned football T-shirt. Thanks to Sports Gambling Podcast Network. They're doing that for us. So pretty cool thing. Make sure you go to Spotify, check that out. Anyways,
back to the whiskey.
Back to the whiskey.
So yeah, please highly encourage everybody. It was a entertaining, informative episode, Whiskey Wednesday episode we did yesterday.
For sure.
With Dylan Carney from Savage and Cook. So go back and listen. It was a great time. And we are drinking our old fashions today. We're doing something different, what we've never done before. And Justin, you're going to have to give the details because I didn't make these. I have no idea what they are. But you've made an old fashioned, mini old fashioned.
I've made it's a half serving from what we normally do for old fashions. So we technically have
the 3.
Yes. So we technically have 3 halves. We talked about doing this when Dylan was on the show because you like the rye best on its own. I like the bourbon best. And then I said, wow, we should put these in an old fashioned, but not know which is which and decide which one we like best mixed. And we kind of were thinking, like, what's the best way to do that? I thought you were going to make mine. I was going to make yours. But then I thought we could make our old fashions differently. And that would kind of skew the results. I guess my 3 would be the same. Your 3 would be the same. That's fine. But
we make different old fashions. They come out differently.
Yeah. So I made all the old fashions. I put stickers on the bottom with a number. So if we're drinking and you see a little piece of paper fall, hopefully it does not, or we'll get confused. But they don't want to stick as well as I'd hoped. They are labeled 1, 2, and 3, and the bottom of our bottles are labeled 1, 2, and 3. And I have mixed these all up. I don't know what's what. We can't see the number on the paper because it's folded. And we're going to drink these throughout the show, and we are going to decide. We'll have to stack them here and then reveal which ones we think are best in order.
And so, yeah, yesterday, with Dylan, I shouldn't say yesterday, on yesterday's episode with Dylan, he walked us through tastings of the
rye,
their bourbon, and then the American whiskey.
Yeah, all cask finished.
Yes, cask finished. Very good whiskeys.
Yes,
I had a hard time picking a favorite, but I leaned towards the rye. It was the rye for me.
The smell of the rye,
all of them.
But
I could sip on all of them, have them all neat, or I could see how they would all really stand out in an old fashioned.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to try these. Now that you've explained this, I'm going to start drinking these.
Okay.
Old fashions.
It'll be interesting to see if we can tell which one is the American whiskey, because that's the 113 proof. The others are 100 proof. Kirk says, make a Wisconsin old fashioned. That's with brandy. That would be interesting.
That would be.
I've not done that, Kirk, but being the Wisconsin, hopefully now Wisconsin anyways, you're an Iowan at heart. We all know that, but hopefully you've done that before. Should we talk a little bit about some injuries?
Yes,
it's again not a super extensive list.
I do not have quarterback injuries to report today, but I do running backs. We already touched on Travis Etienne. You had mentioned limited at practice. with that chest rib injury. And I've told you guys, keep an eye on him. He should be good to go. We also have Brees Hall. He was also limited in practice, but due to a hamstring injury, he also should be good to go. I'm thinking.
I don't think he's going to miss.
Yes.
Kenneth Walker, though, out tonight. So if he's in your lineup, get him out of there.
Get him out.
You probably haven't even set your lineups yet, have you?
No, I will have time though.
You will.
I didn't have any time today to.
It's a good
get in
thing about
there.
doing 5 instead of 6.
I did after waivers. I did kind of go in and move some things around, but I need to like set them.
We're playing each other in a league again, aren't we?
Again?
I'll look.
I'm gonna beat you again. Just want you to prep for that.
We'll see.
Aaron Jones is questionable with a knee injury. He missed last week. He's really just been unreliable all year.
Yes. We play each other. Oh, and we said this on Wednesday, or I guess Tuesday technically, but on our whiskey episode, we did alert you that out of nowhere it was said that Jonathan Taylor is having thumb surgery and he will be out 2 to 3 weeks. They think it'll only be 2 to 3 weeks. Hopefully you picked up Zach Moss. I cannot believe you guys let me get him in the family league. I had just cut him last week too. He was the reason my season started turning around at the beginning when Jonathan Taylor was out. So I can't believe he did that. And Zach Ertz asked to be released, and the Cardinals cut him. They are all in on Trey McBride, apparently. So that's interesting. We play each other in the Rumble. We play each other in the Family League.
We play each other. You're going to list a third?
I thought maybe there was one on Sleeper. I got to switch over to Sleeper now since we got our old school leagues.
Oh, my gosh.
But at least 2 leagues we play each other. So
this is going to be really bad for us this weekend.
For you, yeah, absolutely.
For you.
We play each other in the Dynasty. Yes.
Well, you're going down. Sorry.
Projected to win right now. We will see. That's going to be a good one, though, I think. Yeah. Going to be interesting. We're going to be at each other's throats. You're going to probably have to, as long as I'm winning initially, you're going to have to hear me talk about that because you know how I am. Once I get ahead, I like to talk a little smack to you, you know? You've probably noticed that a time or two.
The Pirate League is a interesting scenario going on there.
Yeah, I'm projected to lose by a lot in the Pirate League. Hopefully it doesn't happen, though. Hey, before we talk a little start sits, I wanted to let you know about Prize Picks, which is an amazing fantasy platform where you can win up to 25 times your money this football season and during basketball too. Why not? Even though that load management league is hard to figure out, you just got to select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. And with the basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that include 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, maybe tonight you want to do Evan Mobley plus, let's pick somebody off the Seahawks. DK Metcalf, combo of points plus receptions. You can do that. And the great thing is, let's say you take that and DK Metcalf gets hurt in that first game or that first half. Unfortunate, but if they do get hurt, they have a reboot policy. That's right. If they don't come back in the second, it's rebooted. You don't lose it. They're the only daily fantasy sports platform with an insurance policy, and they're offering big promotions every week, like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value. That means you should be getting down at Prize Picks on Tuesdays while you're eating your tacos. And then you come over to Old Fashioned Football's Twitter and Insta on Wednesday for a little Whiskey Wednesday pick. We're always picking the Thursday games. They also offer Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Okay, here's what I really like about Prize Picks. You can submit an entry that has 5 projections. Even if only 3 hit, you still make 1.5 times your money. 4 hit, you get 5 times. 5 hit, you get 10 times. You could go for just the 20 times amount and you have to hit all 5. But I love that flexibility of only having to get 3 of them correct. So here's my 5 for this game Thursday night. Dak Prescott, more than 284.5 passing yards. Rico Dowdle, more than 18.5 rushing yards. They've been using him a lot more. CeeDee Lamb, more than 85.5 receiving yards. JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, less than 43.5 receiving yards. And then Kevontae Turpin, I know he has been getting involved a little bit more here and there, but less than 4.5 receiving yards. All you got to do is go to prizepicks.com/SGPN and use code SGPN for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/SGPN, code SGPN. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bet's revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value.
Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com and use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right, we are back. Have any taken a lead yet?
I can tell you which is in which from my very first taste of each one.
Really?
My bet.
You think you can?
Oh, I think I can. I believe that my first drink was the bourbon, old
Okay.
fashioned. This is the rye,
Okay.
old fashioned, and this was the American whiskey.
And which one, what order do you like them? You're not supposed to be guessing what's in them. You're supposed to be ranking them.
I know, but I'm just telling you, I can tell.
Well, you think
The
you can
rye.
tell. The rye.
This one tastes complex. I feel like it picks up on well, they're all complex whiskeys, but this one has a little bit of spice to it, but it isn't.
Spice is nice.
I thought that. No, it's sweeter. It's the sweetest old fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying like sugary sweet. It just is sweet.
This is tough
This
for me.
one, there's a flavor in this that I really tasted when I had the bourbon, when we tried the bourbon.
I think I have that narrowed down too for the bourbon.
There was just a very distinct taste to the bourbon. It's very good and unique, and it stands out. It just stands out in this old fashioned to where I know that this is the bourbon. If I'm wrong and this isn't the bourbon, I will be surprised. But it's very good, and it makes the old fashioned have a very it's good. It's good. I like all of these. And then that leaves the American whiskey. And this is also a good old fashioned. I have to have.
So you like all three?
I like all three.
Okay, good. Me too.
I liked all three.
Right, whiskeys.
Like I knew when we tried them yesterday, these are good on their own.
Mhm.
Just neat. These are good. I felt like these are whiskeys that are good any way you have them.
Sorry, distracted by the chat. Nick Fortune checking in saying, "What's up, Dragon Lady?" Which is Kirk, apparently.
Please explain.
Yeah. Why is Kirk a dragon and a lady? Do you think you have them ordered in your favorite there? Did you say rye first?
I think
if it's the rye, that's your favorite.
But I need to taste them more.
This is my order right now. It could change as I keep going, but I have them ordered 1, 2, and 3 of what I like.
I'm spacing mine out.
I see that. It's easier for me to keep them in a row, though. It's easier for my brain.
I can have my brain can compute regardless.
Does not compute. Should Nick, Kirk says, "Get off my lawn." So Nick, get off Kirk's lawn. The chat is at each other. We got
we like it.
Yeah, Iowa versus Iowa State fans here. Keep after each other. Go for it. Anyways, do we want to talk a little starts?
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
If you guys have in the chat, if you have questions, please throw it out there.
Yeah.
I like the interactions on the chat that we have going on, we have had going on. Words. All right. I'm going to start with quarterbacks. My start feels weird to say. Kyler Murray versus the Steelers. I know the Steelers defense has been good, but I think that Kyler will be able to pick up a decent amount of yards on the ground, which will lead him to having, I feel like, a nice fantasy football day for us.
Yeah, I like it. That was kind of in the NFL gambling podcast. That was kind of in Moneyline and I's handicap for that game too.
Really?
We took the Cardinals plus 5.5. Well, it was plus 6 at the time. I think it's down to 5.5.
Mhm.
But because we both thought that Kyler Murray would scramble some, so yeah, right on the same page with you. I'm going to go with Brock Purdy. Listen, Brock Purdy against Philadelphia. He's the 10th ranked fantasy football quarterback, quietly creeping up in MVP conversations. Mr. Irrelevant to MVP would be very cool for Brock Purdy. And the Eagles are 31st in terms of quarterback fantasy points allowed. So I look for the Niners and Purdy to have their foot on that gas the whole time to show like, hey, we are the best team. Plus, they need to win this game to try to get that number 1 seed that the Eagles are currently sitting on. So I think he's going to have a day. Yeah.
Yep. All right. For running backs, I don't even, with your comments earlier about you grabbing him, I don't even want to say this, but my start is Zach Moss versus the Titans. Zach Moss is back. Jonathan Taylor is out due to this random surgery on his thumb. So with Moss being back, like he was one of the top running backs before Jonathan Taylor came back, having games of 18.7, 21.5. He did have a 9-point game, which isn't horrible for being under 10. I mean, if you're under 10, you want to get 9, right?
Right.
And then he his last game 37.5.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good for you if you started him back then.
I did.
I know you did. And now you get him again. So you're hoping that he puts up those kind of numbers again for you.
I am.
He is on my start list. Regrettably so, since you have him.
Mine's regrettably so. I took several drinks before we talked about this. I need to take another.
Okay.
Kyron Williams. You have listened to me shit on this guy all year.
And by shit, you mean like
Just say that he was a
Yeah.
fraud. He was not going to continue his fantasy relevancy, and then he got injured, but he's back. And I said he can't keep having these 2 touchdown games. His first game back, 2 touchdowns. I can only hate on him for so long before I'm finally buying in. I think when he's healthy, I'm seeing that this Rams offense seems to perform better. And I would be surprised if he's not a first or second rounder in fantasy football drafts next year. He's got, I think, 4 or 5 now games. And keep in mind, he missed 4 games with 2 touchdowns. That's insane. He's doing it catching and running. So, yeah, if you're in a keeper league, maybe think about trading for him right now.
All right, a wide receiver. I have Adam Thielen versus the Bucks. Me, when I put him on the start list, I thought about our conversation. This is where Mostert, it was between Thielen and Mostert for you to steal in the Pirate League.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Thielen and Mostert.
And I told you I was all Mostert, but then when I'm looking here, I was like, oh, Thielen is a start this week. And I know you're probably hesitant after the fact that he had 1 catch for 9 yards last week, but I don't think you're gonna have to worry. Like, he's gonna bounce back against a porous Bucks defense.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is a good game for him. It's a good matchup for him. I expect him to do well fantasy wise.
Yeah, I agree. Let's pause to answer a question real quick. Tristan says, would you start Charbonnet or Devin Singletary? Zach Charbonnet has not looked that great anyways. He's not been super efficient in my opinion. And going against the Dallas defense, I worry of his day. Devin Singletary, I know Dameon Pierce is back, but still against Jacksonville last week, he had 13.2 points. They faced Denver. And surprisingly, Denver has looked really good. And I think they're going to have to use Singletary, who just seems to be hitting those holes a little bit better than Dameon Pierce does. And then Broncos, that's where you can take advantage of the Broncos. They're 32nd against the run. Very good pass defense right now, but against the run, not so good. So I would go Devin Singletary there. Thoughts?
No, I would. I agree with you.
I just don't like Charbonnet.
He's just been on I don't know. This would be his 4th game in a row that I think he's going to do really well on.
Yeah. And I thought last week Dameon Pierce came back. I thought that he's not going to do well anymore, but that wasn't the case. He was still very much involved. And for me, it's more of you gotta fade the Seahawks against the Cowboys. I don't like that, but Cowboys defense is a damned good defense, and I think that they're going to struggle to run the ball on them. Plus, I think that the Cowboys are going to be up enough that they're going to have to pass the ball. Cowboys 7th against the run. So, yeah, I think we agree with Singletary. All right. You talked about Adam Thielen. I'm going to talk about Cortland Sutton. I just talked about the Broncos. The Texans defense has been really good. But Sutton only has 3 games this year without a touchdown. That's impressive.
Mhm.
I mean, you don't think Cortland Sutton touchdown machine, but he's had only 3 games with 0 touchdowns. He seems like he's a lock for a touchdown. I think you almost have to start him. You almost have to depend that he's going to get a touchdown. He gets yards too. So it's not just touchdowns. Should we talk about your tight end?
Let's talk about these. So we just talked about
Zach Ertz.
Ertz being cut. So my my start for this week is Trey McBride against the Steelers. The Steelers is a tough team to go against, but cutting Zach Ertz, I feel like we already discussed. It's like a nod to how much they like this guy, and they're gonna scheme on keeping him involved.
Yes, I knew you were going to talk about him because before the show, I said I'm struggling, and I can only think of one tight end to put on the start list because besides your obvious guys, you're Travis Kelce, you're starting, George Kittle, you're starting, even though he's had some down games, and you're like, well, I'm picking Trey McBride. I was like, fuck, that's the guy I was going to say. So I did a little more digging, and talked about a guy that you talked about on the waivers
because he coming back. He had a really good game last week.
Yeah, Pat Freiermuth is back. Dominated the target share, dominated the yards. He's back. You got to start him. I think that offense looked like it was ready to feature him. They were not able to replace his production value when he was gone. Kenny Pickett had one of his best games, but not to mention Kenny Pickett the bust. More yards, less interceptions than Jalen Hurts, the MVP.
One of the quarterbacks you have?
Yeah, it is.
So
ironically, he didn't. They had their best game of the season. They scored 16 points. That's a little worrisome, but Freiermuth was a big part of that. So I think you got to go with him.
All right.
Move to the sit 'em shit 'em list.
Yeah.
The shit list.
Shit list. First up on my shit list is Jordan Love.
Haha. Yes. Real quick, not to interrupt you, but RD commented on our X account that it was worth tuning in Monday for him just to hear me say good things about Jordan Love.
Well, I was extra happy to say some bad things. They go against the Chiefs. I know he's been, I'm just going to quote you, really good as of late, because I don't want to personally admit it, especially last week against the Lions. However, I would be cautious starting him against the Chiefs defense that they've been really good.
Yeah, they have.
So I just don't see, I think last week was last week. And I don't know if I'm trusting him against the Chiefs. I don't have him to trust. So there's that too.
Well, difference last week, he went against the 28th ranked Lions, 28th against the quarterback. This week, 6th ranked Chiefs.
Yeah, it's gonna be a much harder game for him.
Yeah, you picked a guy going against the 6th ranked team. I'm picking a guy going against the 7th ranked team against quarterbacks fantasy football wise. Justin Herbert against the Patriots. You likely have to start Herbert. I get that, but I'm a little nervous about this game for the Chargers. They have a long travel to New England, to Foxborough there. The weather's going to be a little bit colder. They're used to that warm LA air. And New England, despite the fact that, can you believe New England's only won 2 games?
Yeah.
This is the worst Bill Belichick team we have ever seen.
I can believe it.
Because of Mac Jones?
Yes.
That's fair. Sit Mac Jones too if you have him. Yeah, Herbert is going against that solid defense, though. They're still a solid defense against the quarterbacks, so it's just their offense that can't put up points. So, yeah, I would sit Justin Herbert if you can. If you can.
See, I think I can because I have him in, obviously, my stack league. We've talked about this.
Yes.
It's my Chargers team league.
Yes, where you kept every Charger.
But I have Stroud. And I often debate with myself, who do I start this week between Stroud and Herbert?
That is tough.
They're 5th and 6th ranked quarterbacks.
You have that that's Fortune's League. That's your man.
I'm pretty sure. I'm positive. Otherwise, I have Herbert and Stroud in another league. I got to double check myself.
Oh my
now.
gosh.
You're making me second
well,
guess.
no, I'm just for keeper
You're thinking
value.
about keeper. I know.
Did you draft Stroud or you pick him up off free agency because none of us believed in him?
If I drafted him, it was for cheap.
Cheap. Oh,
let me double check. I can tell you. Yeah, I do. I'm right. Stroud, and I started Stroud last week.
That's nice. That's nice keeper.
It is a nice keeper.
Click on Stroud Click on Stroud's name.
Un momento. This is the league that I'm really building on because I picked up Laporta for my future.
Oh my
and
goodness.
it's been good for me currently.
Well, and you're the best team in the league
I know
right
this.
now. You don't need next year
I'm
too.
10-2.
I'll take Laporta or Stroud from you. I'll take them off your hands. We'll make a
No.
trade.
Is there a max? You gotta
3.
remind me. 3 is the max
In
for
Nick's
keep.
league, it's 3.
Well, I'm keeping Stroud and Laporta. I
In
can
ours,
guarantee
it's 5. In the Rumble, it's unlimited, as Russ
unlimited.
Wilson would say. Click on Stroud, por favor.
Yes, I'm doing it.
Scroll
Hold
all
on.
the way to the bottom. You know what I'm saying.
I drafted him for $1.
Oh, you suck.
Can you imagine that contract?
You can only contract 3 years, but you suck.
Yeah,
Let's
but
talk
so at
about
the end of 3 years, he'll be $11.
$11. Let's talk about your running back sit,
Okay, let's do that.
which we just answered this actually.
we did.
Yeah, peeking at
Um,
your notes over there, but
I know we answered it, and I let you take lead on that. But Charbonnet tonight versus Dallas.
yes, that's a wine, isn't it?
That is Chardonnay.
Oh, right.
Dallas they're really good at stopping the run, and Walker hasn't necessarily put up big numbers anyway. He had sorry, hold on one second. I need to grab my numbers here.
Grab the numbers.
Anyway, yes, sit Charbonnet. Sorry. Tonight versus Dallas, he had 14 carries for 47 yards last week and 15 for 47 the week before.
Is 47 his max? I mean, is that where like his peak? Woo,
Yeah,
2 weeks in a row, apparently.
I don't know.
Yeah, that Dallas defense is good too. Speaking of good defenses, we already talked about this one too. DeAndre Swift versus the Niners. He's been great. It's really just fading and a running back going against the Niners. It's nothing against Swift. I would just be cautious. I do have to start him in a league, so I get it. But like I said, I think Kenneth Gainwell is going to have more snap share. Maybe we should write that down that I said it. Kenneth Gainwell outsnaps DeAndre Swift against the Niners. I said it. I marked it on our thing. Thank you, StreamYard. Oh, I don't like that I'm hovering over end stream with my mouse.
Let's not do that.
Yeah. Saw a guy do that once on a stream. Mr. Adam Pelletier, the Don of Bill's Mafia. Corporate gambling had slipped him some cash to end the stream that Kramer was doing for the best ball
24-hour.
Yeah, fundraiser, 24-hour best balls, and Adam hit that end stream. So I'm going to stop hovering over it. I don't want corporate gambling to hack my computer and take it over. Let's talk about some wide receivers.
All right. You ready for this?
Yeah.
All right, I've got Tank Dell against the Broncos.
The tank.
You may start him anyways, because I might start him anyways in one of my leagues too, but I think that we should be cautious. The Broncos defense has been really good as of lately, and they could make it a tough day on Tank, who's officially been updated to Tank on stuff.
Yeah, no, he's no longer Nathaniel Dell in the NFL records. He is Tank Dell, has played well enough to earn that name change. But yeah, I agree that Broncos defense is good. I'm going to go with Jackson Smith and Jigba against the Cowboys. I gave it out on our prize picks for the fantasy projection, saying he would get less. They have a strong defense, and I just don't like JSN's chances of putting up a big game. So I'd look elsewhere. You probably have him in your flex, not a wide receiver 1 or 2. You probably have him in your flex. I would just look elsewhere if you could. Speaking of the Cowboys defense, we're not Cowboys fans.
No,
and technically the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is as anti-Cowboy as they can get. But Deron Bland, their cornerback, was not expected to do much. He worked his ass off in training camp, wasn't going to start, but then Trayvon Diggs gets hurt, so he gets a start, and he now has 6 interceptions for touchdowns. I believe he's at 6. That's the most in a season ever, most pick sixes in a season ever. He's having a excellent year, and a funny thing, he's a rookie this year, I believe. He now has more touchdowns his rookie year. He's a cornerback, doesn't play offense, right? More touchdowns than Kyle Pitts. Just wanted to throw that out there. All right, who's your tight end to sit?
All right, Taysom Hill, which in one of my leagues, I have to start him unless I can pick up somebody else. I'm monitoring things. But just based on my bye weeks, I have Taysom Hill as my tight end. So they go against the Lions. And I feel as quickly as his usage has like ramped up, if you look at his projections, it's crazy. He's projected like 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks, 2 points almost every week.
Yeah.
And he's been getting high upper like double digits. Like I'm talking
Fooling
like
everybody.
18, above 20. It's been exciting using him in one of my super flex leagues. And I don't know if you can trust him in your tight end spot, or I don't know if you should start him in a super flex either, or a flex.
Yeah, because
if you're, I think he is projected 5, around 5 right now. And I think that's probably all you'll get out of him this week.
yeah, I agree.
This is a week where I think maybe the projections are kind of accurate for him. He had 7.1 fantasy points last week, but only right before the bye, 3.3. That was the 1 week where he dipped.
You got to imagine the Lions.
It depends on your league settings too. He was closer to 10 points for me last week.
Yeah, we normally talk half PPR. You got to imagine Detroit's defense is pissed after getting embarrassed by Jordan Love. Speaking of Jordan Love, the Packer fan, RD checking in. The champ is here to all you members of A League by a Marks. Yeah. Keep talking. If you joined late, RD, you missed Miranda trashing Jordan Love. Just trashing him. Tore him apart. He might not recover. My tight end, I just talked about the fact that the rookie cornerback, the defensive player, Deron Bland, has more touchdowns in his career than Kyle Pitts does. Kyle Pitts goes against the Jets. He's on my sit list because I said so.
Can I just interject here? Are people really even starting Kyle Pitts?
I've seen him started, yes.
Okay.
There are Kyle Pitts truthers that are still holding on. What do you remember that guy's name? From the Expo. He's friends with Sean and Kramer, an acquaintance. Do you remember his name off the top of your head?
I don't know who you're talking about. What?
The Kyle Pitts truther. Remember, he came to our booth several times and he was a different person. So some of the times, you remember who I'm talking about now?
Yes.
Very, very, very serious flag football player too. Had the gloves and everything for the flag football tournament.
Okay, continue.
Do you remember his name?
I know where he lives. I don't remember his name.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious if maybe he's given up on Kyle Pitts, because his fantasy football projection with the mic drop was Kyle Pitts tight end one this year.
Which I was like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
No.
RD says still has Jordan Love on a team that he's already eliminated from the playoffs. And maybe that's why you're eliminated, because you had Jordan Love. Just kidding. Okay, so if you're just joining us, feel free to ask more start sit questions if you have them. But if you're just joining us, we had Savage and Cook head distiller Dylan Carney on our show technically yesterday. It was Tuesday, but technically came out yesterday. We tried their 3 new rebranded products, and we we put them in old fashions and had a blind taste. We mixed them all up. We don't know what's what, and we're ranking them. Do you have your final rankings? I do, so I might start. No, I can't start. Oh, RD has Pitts on a team.
Well, that is the same team you have Love on?
No, but he did pick up Love. Oh, yeah. Picked up Love this week in that league because he listened to me gloat about Jordan Love in the waivers, and he knew this must be getting really serious because I know that hurt J Mark to hate him.
Sit him. So
for this game.
For this game.
In our waiver episode, to be fair, I did say he has a tough matchup against the Chiefs, but then he has some nice matchups.
Putting the smackdown on him. Sit him this week.
Sit him this week.
I have my whiskey.
You have your order.
All
right, give me.
And I can tell you which one's in which. And I'm
all right. Give me your
99.9% confident.
Should we do 3-1 or like last place to first place for each of us?
Yeah.
Okay.
The American whiskey.
You think it's the American?
Yeah. What number is this? And it's your last place too?
Well, this is my last place. Oh man. What number?
2
That's what I have. Number 2.
is your last place.
Yes.
Is it the American whiskey?
I don't remember. You stay
Pick
on
up
the
the-
mic. You stay on the mic.
Pick
so-
up the American whiskey. I think it's the American whiskey.
No.
Is it the rye?
No. It's the bourbon.
The bourbon. Oh my god. Then I got mine really wrong. Can I try these again? I was like, I'm 99.9% sure.
That surprises me.
The bourbon is it's still a good old fashioned, but compared to the other two, I like the other two more.
That
in the
surprised
old-fashioned.
me.
I always go with a bourbon old fashioned.
I thought this was the bourbon, my number 1.
Hold on.
But obviously it wasn't because you got buttery out of your bourbon one, right? Or no?
No, I got butter out of the.
It was the bourbon that you described as almost
How
buttery.
can I not even remember? I remember really. Oh, okay. I remember being just so impressed with
RD said Packers going to smoke those Chiefs like a fancy old fashioned. I like them with the points this week. I don't know if I like them to win straight up, but I do like them in the points, RD. And you know that's a lot coming from me. And come on, the Moose has to get some fancy old fashions, man. Do you do old fashions? I don't think I've ever tried to order one there for afraid that you would smack me. But do you do old fashions at the Moose?
Why would he smack you for it?
He's not, I'm not going to spend that kind of time making that. Get out of here.
We twist the orange, get
Right.
the citrus mist into your glass. Okay, this is my second.
Second.
And
what do you
this
got?
then, this is the American whiskey then.
What number?
1.
That is the American whiskey. My
I had
second.
the American and the bourbon mixed up. That's weird.
My second place is number 3, the rye, which means the one that I liked the most
Was the American
was the
whiskey?
American whiskey. Maybe it's because it is a stronger proof. And you know, I like
The
strong proof
American
mixed
whiskey
drinks.
is the 113?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, I like strong mixed drinks. So maybe that's why it became my number 1. Maybe it was the whiskey was standing out more. I don't know. I could taste the whiskey in all of them.
The rye was the rye was your second. The rye is my number 1, and I picked it out right away.
RD said whiskey on the rocks. That's normally what I get. I figured that's what you get.
But that rye, it was my favorite when we were on the show with Dylan. And then this was the second one I tried, and I knew right away it was the rye.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really surprised by my results.
I swear that this was the bourbon.
So you had bourbon last.
I had bourbon
And I had
last.
bourbon last. And that surprises me because it was my favorite on its own. I want to recount. We're going to have to remake these.
I think it was the Irish whiskey I thought was buttery. I don't think the bourbon was butter.
No,
try?
I got the bourbon right here.
Okay.
Yesterday, you said buttery to something. Blowing nose
I didn't
boogies
blow
in there.
anything. I inhaled.
Do you want to try it on its own?
Oh, I'm away from the mic too.
I'm a little surprised that bourbon finished last for me. And the American whiskey was first. Rye was first. So now, go back and listen to Dylan talk about these, and we recommended getting them all.
Yeah,
But
I think that it's a must.
Recap the order of yours.
Of what I liked, yes.
No, right now.
Oh, right now.
You had rye number 1?
Number 1, old fashioned. If you made them all the same, you just changed the whiskey.
I did, yeah.
And you made the old fashioned just standard.
Half a sugar cube in each, a half ounce of water, the half of the Angostura and half of orange bitters that I normally do. I don't really measure those, but I did it about halftime, and an ounce of whiskey.
Okay. That's the half recipe of
Right.
our standard old fashioned that we make.
Yeah.
So my number 1 was the old fashioned with the Savage and Cook rye.
And my number 1 was with, I feel bad because it's
American
still
whiskey.
it's still their sourced one, but maybe it was the higher proof.
They still blend it and
They
choose
do,
it and
yeah.
make it.
It's still very much them.
And it's finished in Zinfandel barrels.
Yes. And the rye is
Um,
finished in the Grenache.
Grenache.
Yes.
So my second was the American whiskey in the old fashioned. My third was the bourbon, which is cask finish in cab.
Which you would think the kind of that it's cab's dry, but it's got a little bit of sweetness to it.
I'm really starting to think, I wish I could. Why can't I not remember? I know one of them tasted like butter, and I think it was this one.
It was the bourbon. I'm telling you.
Oh, this one tastes buttery.
Which one? The American whiskey.
This,
It was the bourbon. I promise.
Okay,
Everybody
fine.
go, and if you don't, if you've listened to it already, you can tell us. Otherwise, go listen and you'll find out which one was the bourbon or which one was the buttery one. I am fairly certain it was the bourbon,
okay.
but
You know
this
what?
is shocking to me.
I am shocked too. I thought that I would like.
I'm gonna have to report this
I
to
don't know.
Dylan. Let him know.
I thought that I would probably lean the rye in my old fashioned because I just really loved it, and it does stand out. Like I could tell right away, this is Savage and Cook's rye.
Yeah.
The bourbon and the American whiskey are very distinct when
Yeah.
we tried them. I can't believe I didn't pick them out correctly in the old fashioned.
See, I'm drinking the bourbon right now, and I'm still getting that buttery taste.
Okay, then it was that.
Yeah.
In the old fashioned, are you sure you labeled them correctly?
I'm fairly certain. Maybe we're gonna have to make some more right after
I don't
this.
think you labeled them correctly.
I'm fairly certain I
No,
did.
taste this and tell me that's not butter in your old fashioned.
No, I got the same thing. I agree with you, but
Did you mislabel them?
no, I am positive.
This is why you cannot. I can't trust you.
I know for a fact this was number one because it's the first one I poured. I remember that. American whiskey was number one.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
It's strange. This was fun though. We need
It
to
was
do
very
more
fun. We need to
blind
do
old
more blinds.
fashions,
Yeah.
more blind tastes. Next, I was gonna say next week you're gonna do the blind taste, but I don't think we're gonna do that yet because next week we got to try our Keeper's Heart old fashioned.
Yes.
We got to try that.
We got a bottle of Keeper's Heart Old Fashioned. They're
Yes.
RTD, and I'm excited to try it.
Yes,
Yeah, we will be doing that next week.
absolutely.
And then, just to remind everybody, do we have more questions before I?
Not at this time.
Okay, just to remind everybody that we are doing that giveaway. If we are in your top 5
On Spotify.
for podcast, this is a Spotify only giveaway. Sorry, everybody who listens to us.
We
on
didn't make
Apple.
these rules. However, I've brought up Spotify 3 times, and each time the get your Wrapped is ready has popped up. Otherwise, you'll be able to see it. It's right on the main page there.
So repeat that again, where people can
Yeah, just go to Spotify and it'll be on your main page. It's called your 2023 Wrapped. If we were in your top 5 of podcasts, screenshot it, send it to us at the X at Old Fashioned FB or at the Mermark at JMark Football or on Insta. If you're friends of ours, text us, whatever.
at Old Fashioned Football Podcast.
Yes. Yeah. Send it to us. We do have another question.
Okay.
When you're ready. Are you ready for that? But anyways, screenshot on Spotify that
Send us that screenshot. You'll be entered in for a drawing, and we're giving away an Old Fashioned Football t-shirt.
Yeah, there's like 10 to choose from.
There's 3 different prints.
I think
So,
we have 2. I think they cut it down a little bit. Also the
What?
Brock.
Did they cut it down a little?
I think. Also
Remove
the Brock
red font.
I believe so.
Okay.
Also the Brock Hard Purdy shirts are no longer available. I think we're told they can no longer sell those.
Oh man.
Now that Brock Purdy's almost an MVP, you can't get those shirts anymore. Just kidding. I think it's because Sean wanted to remove it because the Eagles play the Niners. Anyways, go on.
Okay. So yes, if you can send us that screenshot that we are in your top 5
Yes.
for podcasts on Spotify, you'll be entered in for a drawing. When are we doing that drawing, Justin?
Let's do it in a week here. So next Thursday we'll draw it. Gives people a week to get entered, and we'll remind them. I'll post it on social, but we'll also remind you on Monday.
On Monday.
For whiskeys and waivers and whiskeys. Just real quick, it was really kind of cool looking through it, but we are a top 5 podcast for 595 fans. So that's 595 people who technically should be able to enter this giveaway if they
Yes.
hear this and screenshot it and send it to us. And we're top 1 for 97 people. So cheers to you guys.
Yeah.
Cheers to you,
Whoever
cheers to you
guys are,
97.
We appreciate you so much.
Yes, cheers to you 97. We have a lot of fun with this, but it's even more fun knowing that people are listening. Because when you start a podcast, you never know, is anybody actually going to listen aside from our parents? I mean, really. And the fact that, like, just the interactions we've had, it's been really cool.
Mhm.
It's been really fun. We appreciate you all. Please don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, leave reviews. That helps us a lot. We don't get anything from the merch, but if you buy our merch, that at least lets the organization know, like, hey, we really like these guys so much, we want to wear them. We got
You want to wear us.
you want to wear us. We got hats, we got shirts. Speaking of interaction, Beast Mode 11, welcome back.
Yes,
Beast Mode.
welcome back.
Cooper Cup or Tank Dell? Cooper Cup for me. Tank Dell has a tough matchup
He
against
does against
the
the
Broncos.
Broncos, and because
It's hard
I
to
said
sit
that
him. I get
Broncos
that.
defense, they've been really good lately. And I think that they're going to make it a tougher day on Tank. Now, in one of my leagues, I don't have a choice. I'm starting Tank, but he is on my sit list for wide receivers this week, if you can do it, just because of that matchup.
I'm thinking now Rams have a really tough matchup. They play the Browns.
Hold on.
The Browns are second again. I still think that Cup is going to get a bunch of receptions, even if it's underneath the coverage. I still think Cup's going to get a bunch of receptions.
Hold on, I need to rethink this.
Oh, are you switching? Are you flip-flopping? This isn't a political debate. You can't flip-flop.
I can flip-flop all I want.
We got a couple other questions. We'll keep answering those as long as you guys want, within reason. I won't be here till midnight. Cup or Dell, you think about that one. I'm going to start thinking about the next one. Or do you have an answer?
Cup has a much tougher matchup.
Oh, so you're going Dell.
I'm starting Tank.
All right. Beast Mode, we didn't help because we split there.
I think that both of these guys have a tough matchup. Looking at things, and
I have a question.
Yes.
Beast Mode, if you are sticking around here, is it PPR? Because PPR, I'm 100% on Cooper Cup because Stafford's going to target him and get him the ball, even if it's on little slants and stuff. If it's standard, Cup may not get the yards where Dell may have a big play or two. So that does make a difference.
Have you been watching Cup's performance?
He's been dealing with his ankle injury.
I know. Do you think that you really think, do you trust that he's healthy?
I do. Yeah. I don't believe he's on the injury report this week.
He's not.
It is PPR. So I still like Cup. I think Cup, he gets, like, when he's healthy, he gets what, 10 catches around. I like Cup.
And Tank has an injury too that he's dealing with.
I know it's against the Browns. I like Cup.
I'm gonna flip-flop back to my original answer and say that I should just go with my gut, and my gut was Tank. Sit Tank.
Sit Tank.
Yes.
Okay, your gut was Cup. Start Cup.
Well, no, yeah, my gut originally was start Cup.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Jake Lewis checking in. What's up, Jake? Start 3 PPR. We got Bijan Robinson, Tony Pollard, David Montgomery, or Mostert. Also have Sharp, but don't really want that. Yeah, sit Sharp. So pick 3: Bijan, Pollard, Monty, Mostert. What say you?
I need to look up.
I'm pulling up the running back defensive ranks right now.
Yeah, I think you have to start Bijan.
Yeah. They play the Jets, and there's no way they win.
25th against the run.
Yeah, there's no way they win passing the ball. So they're going to have to run the shit out of the ball.
So I think Bijan is a safe start.
Yes. It's hard not, if Monty's healthy, it's hard not to start Monty.
Mostert also has a really good matchup this week against sorry, I just lost it.
The Commanders.
Yes, thank you. They're 24th against the run.
Yeah. The Saints are 13th. That's who Monty plays. So are you sitting Monty?
Will you start 2 of these guys?
3. So Bijan.
Mostert, you start Mostert.
And then Pollard or Monty. Seahawks are
Pollard
29th.
has a really good matchup.
Yes.
I think you sit Monty.
You're sitting Monty.
We just said, who do the Lions play?
The Saints.
The Saints.
The Lions play the Saints, who are, I just had it in front of me, or I said it just a second ago. They're 13th against the run. I think I kind of agree with that because Bijan, even though he does split with Tyler Algier, they're starting to use him more. So it's not as much of a split. Tony Pollard, yeah, Rico Dowdle's going to get some touches, but it's not really a split. Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson is still somewhat banged up. I don't know if Devon Chan is going to play or not.
That's a big up in the air. If he does play.
If he does play, I mean, even when he did play,
Mostert, yeah, fantasy wise, he was still relevant. He had good games.
So I think just because even though I love David Montgomery,
like your running backs, by the way.
Yeah, no kidding. Excellent running back drafting there.
When you have to figure out who is like, yeah.
So I think we're settling on Bijan, Pollard, and Mostert.
Sit Monty and.
That hurts me to say.
Yeah.
I love Monty. I love what he's done this year. Most people were doubting him and were just like, no, this is only Jahmyr Gibbs. I went on and about Monty's still a dude that can run the ball. But I do think in this situation between these four, Jake, I would sit Monty. All right, I think that's the end of our questions right now, unless any pop in. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, just remember to screenshot. If we're in your top 5 for Spotify, we want to give away a t-shirt here. So send it to us on any social media platform that you might be on. You can find us.
And if you see a bottle that looks like this, go pick it up. This stuff is any of them. The rye. This is the rye. But I want you to get all 3. This is the bourbon. This is the rye. But you see that Savage and Cook label. Pick it up. Try it out. The American whiskey. Those are very good. Check out the episode with Dylan Carney.
It was fun.
Yeah, you can check that out.
I loved having him back on the show.
Yeah.
If you didn't hear episode 36 was our initial, like our first time having Dylan Carney on the show.
And our first distillery interview. Back in April.
And we had a really good time with him then, but that interview was very informative. Like I learned so much from him.
Yes.
That episode, it was fun.
And he made a joke, at least this time he didn't go on a 20-minute absinthe run. I
loved our absinthe discussions.
Yeah, learning about
there were some stories shared during that time.
And why they started making absinthe even. Like it was just really interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, we had a great time with him this week. Another really good interview with him.
And sorry to interrupt you again. I know you're talking to America.
Talking to Americans.
I know.
Just keep interrupting.
I know.
Me.
You can get that on Apple or Spotify, but go check it out on YouTube because it's just fun to interact with him. He's a really, really fun guy. Goes by on Instagram, the Whiskey Jesus. And if you look at YouTube, you can see why he kind of adopted that nickname.
Yeah, he's always posting great content on Insta.
He
I've enjoyed following him over the last however long it's been since April.
Yes. And he sniffs bungholes of barrels. Jake says that he traded Jonathan Taylor for Pollard and Monty. That's how he got Pollard and Monty on the same team back in week 3.
That was good.
That was a good trade because calm down over there. She threw her phone. It was so good. She's like, why didn't I think of that? No, that is an excellent trade, Jake. And I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. If I have, I apologize. But don't forget to hit subscribe. Welcome to Old Fashioned Football. Miranda, do you have anything else to add before we get out
here? Thursday for start sits. Here every Monday for whiskey and waivers and whiskey, however we're saying.
Waivers and whiskey. Yeah, whatever is your priority.
And occasionally we have a Whiskey Wednesday where we bring on a distiller and have a really good time.
I'm not going to say what distilleries right now, just in case it doesn't happen, but we're in talks with 2 other distilleries. I think we will end up having them on, whether that be in December or beginning of next year. So if you're here for the whiskey, because Old Fashioned Football, come for the football, stay for the whiskey, check those out because it's always fun. Everybody has a different background. Everybody has a different take on their whiskey, why they do what they do, everything like that. I'm sure you're the same, but I have a lot of fun talking to the distillers.
It's such a good time.
Yes.
Always. And I always learn something.
Yeah.
And I just love hearing their stories.
Absolutely. All right. Well, why don't we close this one out so people can get ready for the game?
All right.
I want Seahawks to win. I don't think it's going to happen, though. So there's that. You got anything else you want to add last minute?
I'm good, hun. I'm good.
Going once, going twice.
Sold.
Old Fashioned Football.